Oh, hello. Welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. And we're back. Last week, I was in Austin with my fiance, and we didn't have a normal Sunday Stuff and Things videos. I posted a quick little update from Austin. We did have our Wednesday video. It was the Our Best Blend video from Esser's Haven. Check that out if you haven't already. For that matter, check out the Timeless Style series on the Ray-Ban Wayfarer sunglasses. Please check that out. I want Timeless Style to become a thing, and only you can make that happen by clicking on the videos. Go to my video page or my YouTube homepage and click on the Timeless Style Ray-Ban Wayfarers review. Please check that out. But we're back now. We have lots to talk about because a lot happened in Austin. So we're gonna get into that a little bit. We'll first do upcoming videos, then we will talk about the Austin trip, and then we have lots of questions and feedback, 2 weeks worth in hashtag #AskStuffandThings. So let's get into it. All right, first of all, upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays. As I mentioned, we didn't do the Sunday video last week, but we've been posting videos every Wednesday on Stuff and Things, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Stuff and Things Plays. There were the I cannot say Ray-Ban Wayfarers very well. That video was the week before last. Last week was Smoker's Haven, Our Best Blend. This coming week, I thought I'd do something kind of weird, but I think it's gonna be fun, so check it out. It's gonna be me talking about my vision, how I can't see very well, and just trying to survive, taking a little walk, spending some time without my glasses or contacts in. I have contacts in right now. I pretty much always do from the moment I get up in the morning till when I go to bed at night. And I wanted to see what it was like just trying to get around without my contacts or glasses. So check that out. We will also be talking about these amazing boots. These are my Chisos boots that I picked up in Austin. I was able to pay a visit to Chisos in Austin. Let me take one of these off, actually. And they were super nice and super friendly. And I was able to grab these Chisos boots #1s in their brushed brown. They are absolutely fantastic boots. And I'm really looking forward to doing videos on these. I think I'm gonna do a Timeless Style on just cowboy boots, and then these are going to be the cowboy boots that I have in that video. But I may also do just a specific review on the Chisos boots because they're so interesting. I guess I should let you know for sure that they provided me these boots for free. They had no input on the kinds of videos I'm going to do or what I'm going to say about these boots, and I approached them asking if they would provide a pair of these boots for me to review and to feature in the Timeless Style video. So I've got them now, I've been wearing them around, and they're fantastic. Super comfortable. I think they're gorgeous. Let me put them back on. So look forward to some videos about the Chisos boots in the future. And then of course, Elden Ring every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Stuff and Things Plays. Ow. I'm just going through my phone here. I kept some notes on the Austin trip. I just wanted to write down what we were doing each day so I would remember. But yeah, we went to Austin, Texas. It was very hot, close to 96, 97 degrees pretty much every single day. Only got down to maybe 80 something during the evening. So there was that. It wasn't super horribly humid, but it was pretty hot. So that took a little bit of adjustment. There were times when, you know, my fiance wanted to sit next to the pool in the hotel and I was just like, just covered in sweat and not doing great. And I had to escape into the hotel room where there was some nice air conditioning. But we got into Austin. We did a lot while we were there. I'm just looking through some of my notes here. Oh, one of the first things that struck me when we got into Austin is we got in very late the night that we arrived, and we had to go pick up our rental car, and the rental car pickup was in the airport, which seemed nice, but we got to the place and there was a fairly sizable line, and there was a woman who was from Texas, you could tell from her accent, and she spent an inordinate amount of time with each person just chatting them up. And that definitely struck me as a difference between Texas and where I'm from in Washington State, people are usually a little more like, all right, let's get going. Let's turn over the customers here. Let's get the next person in line. And especially when it was super late and we're trying to get our car and just go to the hotel and get some sleep. I wasn't annoyed because she was so friendly, but it was definitely a difference. And then, of course, as always happens, whenever I reserve a car at a car rental place, I usually try to get a compact or subcompact, something small, something that I can, maneuver around in, not have to worry about parking very much. And of course, there were none of those left, and we had to get a minivan. A Chrysler Pacifica, I think. Super annoying, super gutless. It did the thing like all these rental cars do now, where when you stop at a stoplight, the engine shuts off, and then you hit the gas, and it kind of turns back on, and then you kind of start going. It's just so irritating. I don't know what the purpose of a reserved car is with a rental company when they never actually have the car that you've reserved, but that's for another time. There were cockroaches everywhere, outdoors, I noticed that, and weird crickets. I don't ever really see cockroaches in Washington. I know they must exist, but I never see them. I didn't see any in our hotel room, but there were definitely a few in the halls, and this wasn't a bad hotel or anything by any means. And then the next day, we started to just kind of get some breakfast, kind of get situated in Austin. I was struck by how green everything was. I wasn't expecting that. Like, all the grass around was green. And it's high summer, and it had been over 100 degrees in Austin, and now it was like 96, 97. Everything was green, and there were trees everywhere that were green. In Washington right now, in Northwest Washington, all the grass is brown and dead looking because it hasn't rained in a long time. And I can only assume that maybe the grass is just a variety that's more drought resistant in Austin. I was expecting everything to be really dry, really brown, really deserty looking, but everything was really green, and there were trees everywhere. They were shorter, kind of scrubby trees compared to what you get in the Pacific Northwest because we have so many fir trees, so many really tall trees. But yeah, trees everywhere. It was also really hilly. I wasn't expecting that. And everything was very spread out. There were kind of just these multi-lane roads. You'd have a 60-mile-per-hour limit, but then there'd also be cars merging in. There'd be stoplights. It didn't seem like interstates were really a thing around there, where it's just a freeway. And then there were these sort of like strip malls that would separate everything, that were separated by, several miles of road. Everything was like 10, 12 miles away from wherever you happened to be. So that was kind of strange. And then we got into sort of central Austin, and that finally had kind of the quirky look that I was expecting. I had heard that it was sort of the Texas equivalent of Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, Washington, kind of quirky, kind of eclectic. And we saw some shops like that. We went to Chisos Boots. I got to meet the owner, Will, who was super nice and super accommodating. Spoke to one of his employees. I believe Allison helped us out before Will arrived. And it was just a really cool atmosphere because their office or their storefront is in an older house, and it's just super casual and laid back there. You can try on the boots. They have whiskey and pop and all sorts of refreshments, and just kind of hang out and chill out. And it was really cool. Really fun experience to meet Will and the other nice people at Chisos Boots. So like I said, more Chisos stuff coming up. He recommended a barbecue place because we wanted to go get barbecue, and he recommended Terry Black's in Austin. So we went there. It was very busy, but it was run very efficiently, so we were able to get in. I ordered the brisket sandwich. I think Diamond got, it was smoked turkey sandwich, and it was amazing. It was so good. We had barbecue when we were in Oklahoma in April, and it was decent, but this place, oh my Lord. If you're ever in Austin, check out Terry Black's because it was quite good. We went to a vintage store, I think it was called Pavement, looked around there, vintage clothing store. Went to a couple parks. We went to Lake Austin, which is basically just the Colorado River that has been dammed, on either end. And so it's kind of a widening of the river. But that was cool. It was just neat to see. I think one of the first things I noticed when we got to the hotel initially was there was prickly pear just kind of growing around. And I had never seen that before. It was pretty cool. We saw a sign that said to beware of the tawny crazy ants, which I just thought was very evocative. I love that name. On one of the days, we went to Barton Springs, which is an interesting place near Central Austin as well, where I guess there were all these springs. And Old Man Barton at one point ceded the land to the city, and in the 20s, they built sort of a giant pool for the springs to collect into. And we were told by several people that if we were going to go swimming, we should go to Barton Springs. And I kind of wish we had gone just to Lake Austin or someplace else, or maybe Lake Travis, because we were near Lake Travis as well, because it was so busy. There were so many people there, but it was kind of cool just to people watch. It was just the big pool. I think it was like 8 feet deep most places. There were some amusing ducks hanging around, but it was cool. And right near the Capitol in Austin, or the Capitol building, we went to the Bullock, Texas History Museum and saw a lot of cool stuff there. Basically just shows an entire outline of the history of the state of Texas, starting from like the 16th century with the Spanish expedition. They had the wreck of the La Bella, a very small, like frighteningly small ship that came across the Atlantic and landed in Texas. It eventually sunk, but it went through all the history of that. Just a lot of cool exhibits, so I recommend that as well. The Bullock, Texas History Museum. We went to a really cool Mexican place called Fonda San Miguel. Had amazing food, really good atmosphere. And then on the Sunday, the day that we were supposed to be leaving, there was the award show. Actually, I guess I should mention the film festival. That's why we went there to begin with. It was the Lake Travis Film Festival. My fiance Diamond had a screenplay in the film festival, and it had been nominated for Best Feature-Length Screenplay within the festival. And so all the days that we were there, we were also going to film festival activities, seeing short films, seeing feature films. We went to a couple screenwriter things. We went to a thing where Diamond could do a practice pitch of her screenplay to some industry professionals, and they critiqued her pitch. All cool stuff. The film festival was really well run, really well attended, just a really fun time. And then on Sunday was the award show, and that was at a place called Star Hill Ranch near Austin, or I guess kind of near Bee Cave, which is near Austin. And this was a really cool place where I guess they filmed some movies and television shows, just a collection of old buildings that they kind of put together to form into this kind of old style looking ranch, and you can do events there. And the award show happened, and Diamond won Best Feature Screenplay at the Lake Travis Film Festival. I was so proud. I was so happy. It was so amazing. I kind of had an idea that she would win because the woman who was in charge of the writers section of the film festival, she asked Diamond if we were going to be going to the award show, and she's like, yeah, you should go. You should go to that. So I was like, I think maybe she already has an inkling that Diamond won. And it was just so cool. Maybe I'll post a picture. Maybe I've already posted a picture. I'm not sure. But that was so cool. And so that was like, oh, such a great capper to the trip. We had a great time in Austin. She won the award. And then we were going to go to this coffee shop called, I can't remember what the coffee shop was called, but it was supposed to be looking over Lake Austin. I can't remember what it was called, but we went to the coffee shop. It was super busy, and we were going to try to find a place to sit. There was some dude playing like singer-songwriter stuff on a guitar on stage, singing like the Hey There Delilah song. And in the midst of this, Diamond gets a text message that says, your first flight on American Airlines has been delayed. And so we looked into it, and of course, we had a transfer. We were supposed to fly from Austin to Dallas, and then from Dallas to Seattle. The first flight from Austin was delayed, which would mean that we would be too late to catch our transfer flight to Seattle. So what followed, instead of a nice, relaxing few hours while we were waiting to go to the airport on our last day, I spent a few hours on hold with American Airlines, Alaska Airlines, because our ticket was sort of through Alaska, but American was going to do the transfer flight, and Travelocity, just pulling my hair out trying to figure out what we could do, and it was so irritating. Plane travel is such a demoralizing, horrible thing these days. It's really, really bad. You're just treated like an animal, like nobody seems to care. Just every aspect of it, the way you have to line up for security checks, like everything. You're penned in. I don't know. I hate it so much. I don't care about actually flying. I'm not squeamish about that. I'm perfectly fine. It's just everything around it. It's just it's just so annoying. And it was so irritating trying to get somebody to tell us how we can figure this out and get a flight to Seattle that day, because we had to go. We had to be working the next day and everything. Finally, we just went to the airport and we went to the American desk and we found this really cool guy named Jerry who worked there, who helped us out. But nobody in the customer service for Alaska, for American, or for Travelocity would help us. They all said that it wasn't their responsibility. They all said that they didn't have the authority to release new tickets, all this crap. And it took the guy at the desk at the airport to actually do it for us. So it was a very long day of travel, but we did manage to get into Seattle. I think we got in, it was well past midnight, so we didn't get back to Bellingham until after 3:30 in the morning. Early Monday morning. So that was irritating, but it was a really cool trip. We had a great time. I was super proud of Diamond that she won the Best Feature Screenplay at the Lake Travis Film Festival, and it was great. Oh, wait, I have to correct myself. The airlines rep, the American Airlines rep was James, and he was fantastic. So if you're ever in the Austin airport and you can talk to James, tell him he's a great guy. He's at the American Airlines desk. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. We finally get into this flight that's supposed to take us to Dallas, and so we've been waiting in the airport forever. Everything's been pushed back. We know that we're going to be getting into Seattle super late, and we're also kind of worried that we're still not going to make the transfer flight because the flight that we were supposed to get on in Austin, the new flight, has been delayed as well. And then we're sitting there forever in the plane, and we realize that it's taking so long because somebody has brought a Great Dane onto the plane, and they're trying to figure out where to put the Great Dane in the passenger compartment. Really weird. So they were trying to shuffle all these people around. It took probably an extra hour and almost made us miss our next flight in Dallas. So anyway, it was a very long day. All right, gang, but I've been gone for 2 weeks, and so we have 2 weeks worth of feedback and questions that we need to get through. I think we've already been going almost 20 minutes here, so I need to try to speed through these as quickly as possible. I super appreciate everybody continuing to write in, leaving comments and questions on YouTube videos, feedback as well. If you want to go to Twitter and tweet to me at SATBradley with the hashtag askstuffandthings, you can ask questions there. You can also ask me questions via Patreon, and our first question comes via Patreon from Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre says, got a question for the Sunday Stuff and Things. As far as podcasts go, I know you listen to Around the NFL, RIP Chris Wessling. Yes. But what other podcasts do you regularly listen to? Some make a great pairing with some good teas. Have a good one. I've had this question before, and I can't remember the last time I answered it. Thank you, by the way, Dr. Dre, for the question. I listen to Around the NFL. It's the only sports-related podcast I listen to. I listen to Conversations with Coleman. You could look that up if you wish. He's a cool guy, Coleman Hughes. I listen to The Glenn Show with Glenn Lowry and John McWhorter. An interesting show. I listen to some video game podcasts. I can't think of which ones off the top of my head now. Let me look at my phone app. Hold on. Oh, Retronauts. Retronauts is one of them. I listen to some stuff from Duckfeed TV. You can look into that. I do Game Scoop. I sometimes listen to a podcast called Trigonometry. Sometimes the CU podcast. Another podcast called Very Bad Wizards. I listen to a weird kind of comedy podcast called This Paranormal Life sometimes. Just trying to look through here. Lexicon Valley with John McWhorter. I listen to quite a few podcasts because I usually have an AirPod in my ear when I'm working. Yeah, stuff like that. So if any of those things sound interesting to you, I guess I didn't explain them very much, but check them out. You might like some of them. Next, from Twitter, we have a question from Jason Hexeter Hunt. They say, so sorry to hear about Mr. Straub. Yeah, so this was 2 weeks ago that we posted the video about our good friend, Peter Straub, passing away. So that was very sad, and some people are reacting to that. Hexeter says, I'm a fan of his work. My question for you, I want to try a Bark River knife myself, having seen yours. Their site is very detailed, dauntingly so, in fact. Could we get a How I Selected My Knife video? Hashtag askstuffandthings. Maybe. I don't know if I would do just specifically about that, but I do have another Bark River knife that I need to review at some point. It's the Aurora Scandi Grind knife that I got. So maybe I'll try to delve into that when we do that video. Next, via YouTube, we have a question from John Winkowski. Quick question, do you empty your ash at some point through the bowl, or do you leave it all in your pipe from start to finish? That's a good question. Typically, I don't have to tip my pipe, like tip out the old ash, but there are some blends where I do. The Esser's Haven blends, I definitely had to tip those out. It just depends on how each specific blend smokes in each particular bowl that you are using, so it varies. Next, from Gabrielle Polides. Bradley, first let me say sorry about Peter. Thank you, Gabrielle. I meant to comment on both, or I guess Gabriel. I meant to comment on both these videos, but I'll leave them here. 1. How does Exotique stack up against Blackhouse if they are both emulating the same blend? Blackhouse is my favorite Balkan. I know you really enjoyed it also. And I have a tin of Exotique that I'll open around Thanksgiving. Lastly is how short is the Barracuda G9 jacket? I love it, but I know it's form-fitting. And it really bothers me when I'm wearing something tight-fitting and I lift my arms up and it goes 3 inches above my navel cavity. Cheers, and again, sorry for your loss. Okay, so the stuff with Blackhouse and Exotique and Our Best Blend, I'm probably getting this wrong now because my memory is sketchy, but I thought Blackhouse was replicating Sobrani 759 and White Knight was emulating the original Balkan Sobrani, and I think this was emulating original Balkan Sobrani and Exotique was emulating 759. I may be having that wrong. So it's been so long since I've had Blackhouse that it is difficult to compare it to Exotique. I will say that I think they had fairly similar character as far as the proportion of Orientals in the blends. I really need to have some Blackhouse again. Maybe I'll do a revisited on Blackhouse because it's been quite a while since I've had it. It's a good question. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for you. Now we have some feedback. Oh Lord, man, we have a lot to get through here and I don't know if we're gonna do it. First, from the 2 weeks ago Sunday Stuff and Things, this is from our good friend Chad Curtis, who provided these nice blends. Rest easy, Peter Straub. I'm sad to hear this news. I'm a huge fan of Stephen King, and I have The Talisman and Blackhouse. They co-wrote those together on my list for reading for too long. I need to make it happen now. It's very cool that you were able to form a relationship with someone that talented, Bradley. It's difficult losing a friend. Life is short but sweet. I hope you really enjoy your trip. Thank you, Chad. Next, from John Galdieri, very heartfelt regarding Peter. Just today, my daughter and son and I went to Barnes & Noble's and we all picked out a book to read this fall. Authors are never forgotten as they are constantly rediscovered through their immortal words they have left behind. Northern New Jersey loves you. Thank you, John. From Chris Portislander, I am sorry for your loss. The story of how you got to know each other is amazing. Social media has introduced so many problems, so it was really heartening to hear an example of the great things we can bring about with these new technologies if we focus on the positive, on the things we love. Good point. Thanks a lot for answering my question. We'll look out for Meridian. I appreciate how well you take care of your community. Thank you, Chris. Next, from Josh Stivers, dude, how cool that YouTube can facilitate meeting someone like Peter Straub and actually becoming friends. That's so badass. Sorry for the loss of your friend, man. I hope you enjoy my hometown of Austin next week. We finally have some cooler weather down here lately. All the best to you and yours. Thank you, Josh. And if cooler weather is 97 degrees, I would hate to see the hotter weather. Next, from Larry Stoker. I wouldn't encourage you to focus on 1 or 2 topics for your channel. You are very much a cosmopolitan Renaissance man with varied and eclectic tastes. That's the niche you are filling, and you do so very well. So, man, it's been 2 weeks, but I think, and thank you, Larry, I think I was mentioning, I don't know, how it would probably be beneficial for me to just focus on one thing and only do videos on one thing, but I don't intend to do that either. From the Timeless Style Ray-Ban Wayfarer video, we have some feedback from Ryan McFadin, our good friend. Strong Federico Fellini vibes in the beginning. Love it, man. Thank you. And I wanted to mention that because some people were very nonplussed. And if you haven't watched that Wayfarer video, check it out. There's a little intro where I do a particular thing and a lot of people didn't get it. And For me, when I think of Ray-Ban Wayfarers, that's what I think of. I think of old Italian films. So I kind of did a little homage to that at the beginning of that video. Next from Stephen Ford, Academy Award winning performance, Bradley. Am I glad you brought up the RB Aviators? Definitely my favorite and glad you referenced them in your analysis. Never a big fan of Wayfarers, although each to their own. Your face, your choice. Wayfarers are just a little too nah for me. The lack of a bridge is why you're getting marks on your skin, and the heavy look renders them more so. Haha. But with all things aeronautical, what could be better than a classic pair of aviators? They still look fresher, dynamic, and more desirable than any other. With yellow tint for the snow or blue for the sky, the range is extensive. But it's only my opinion, of course. And yes, I love aviators as well. From Lord Hogarth. I have the slightly smaller Ray-Ban frames, both as sunglasses and regular glasses. They don't leave an imprint below the orbital socket, but still look great. So that was one criticism I had of the Ray-Ban Wayfarers, is that they are kind of heavy, and yeah, they don't have anything for the bridge of the nose. It's just this molded plastic here. So when you wear them for any length of time, you will get kind of these imprints on either side of your nose and the orbital sockets. Minor complaint, but it's something that I mentioned in the video. But I just love the big chunky look of these original 2140 Ray-Ban Wayfarers, and that's what I mentioned in the video. And last, from Chad Curtis about the Smoker's Haven Our Best Blend video, Chad says, I'm very happy to see you enjoyed both of these, Bradley. And Chad is the one who provided them for us. Almost out of time. If I had to pick just one, I am not sure I could. I like the most recent one. I have Est Best, usually. I really like Our Best Blend a lot, and I could see the salty brine thing. I think it also has more of a rich creaminess, if that makes sense. Maybe that is a mouthfeel thing. I wanted to see what you might think of these for a long time, and it's a pleasure to finally do so. Thanks for your insight and all the great content. And thank you again very much, Chad, for providing those blends. And it's going to provide a lot more content for the channel, so thank you very much. All right, but now it's time for the very best part of the show, and that is where I thank our Patreon supporters. If you would like to support the channels on Patreon, there is a link to our Patreon in the description box below, and it is much appreciated. It helps pay for the fancy camera that is filming this video now, the lights that are shining upon me, blends for review, and other products for us to take a look at on Stuff and Things. And every week, we like to shout out those people who support the channels at $25 or more a month. People like Kirk Crompton, Glenn, Jason Buckner, Gloria Phillips, MDoftheNorth, David Gaudreau, Nick Papageorgio, John Tice, and Ryan McFadin. And of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 or more a month, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop shouting out the name of our good friend, dearly departed, Peter Straub, Bob Magee, and Ashes of the Phoenix. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for watching, subscribing. Hit that like button, that really helps. The more you hit the like, the more you leave comments, that really helps in the algorithm. Also, you can hit that super thanks button down below if you wish to donate directly. But please stay tuned for the video about how blind I am coming up this Wednesday. I think that's going to be fun. We will be having more videos in the Timeless Style series, including on cowboy boots and specifically on these Chisos boots, which I think are fantastic. Lots more to come on Stuff and Things Plays, and just lots more to come in general. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things Plays. No, this has been Stuff and Things on a very pleasant Sunday. Stuff and Things. It's good to be back, and I'll see you later. Oh yeah. Whew. Yeah.